Minimalism, surrealism, abstract art, what do they really mean? Level C1, Advance. Modern art often feels confusing. People stand in front of a nearly empty canvas, a strange dreamlike scene, or a chaotic mix of colors and shapes, and ask the same question: what does this mean? Minimalism, surrealism, and abstract art are three of the most discussed and misunderstood movements in modern art. They are often treated as styles that reject meaning, skill, or effort. In reality, they are different ways of asking the same question: how can art express what words cannot? To understand these movements, it helps to stop thinking of art as decoration or illustration. For centuries, art was expected to show the world clearly. Paintings told stories, captured historical events, or represented religious ideas. Skill was measured by realism, detail, and technical precision. But as societies changed, artists began to feel that reality itself was becoming more complex. The world could no longer be fully explained through realistic images alone. Minimalism emerged as a response to excess. In a world filled with noise, speed, and information, minimalist artists chose reduction. They removed detail, narrative, and emotion on the surface in order to focus attention on form, space, and presence. A minimalist artwork often looks simple, but that simplicity is intentional. It asks the viewer to slow down and notice what is usually ignored: balance, proportion, repetition, and silence. Minimalism does not try to impress. It refuses drama. Instead, it creates a quiet encounter between the artwork and the viewer. When people say minimalist art feels empty, they are often reacting to the absence of guidance. The artwork does not tell you how to feel. It gives you space. In that space, your own thoughts, emotions, and expectations become part of the experience. Meaning is not delivered, it is discovered. Surrealism moves in the opposite direction, but with a similar goal. Instead of reducing reality, surrealist artists distort it. They combine familiar objects in impossible ways, creating scenes that feel logical and illogical at the same time. This movement grew out of a fascination with dreams, the unconscious mind, and hidden desires. Surrealism suggests that reality is not only what we see when we are awake, but also what we experience when reason is turned off. Surrealist art often feels unsettling because it breaks the rules of everyday perception. Time bends, objects melt, bodies transform, and spaces shift. These images are not meant to be interpreted literally. They work like dreams, where meaning is emotional rather than logical. A surrealist painting may not explain itself, but it can trigger a strong internal reaction. The viewer is invited to explore associations, memories, and feelings rather than facts. Abstract art goes even further by letting go of recognizable subjects altogether. There are no objects, no stories, and often no clear reference to the real world. This can be deeply frustrating for viewers who expect art to represent something familiar. However, abstract art is not about hiding meaning. It is about changing the language of meaning. Color, movement, rhythm, and texture become the message. In abstract art, the artist is not asking you to identify what you see, but to feel how you see. A sharp contrast of colors can create tension. Soft transitions can create calm. Repetition can feel meditative or oppressive. The artwork communicates directly with perception and emotion, bypassing rational explanation. This is why abstract art can feel powerful even when it seems incomprehensible. What connects minimalism, surrealism, and abstract art is not their appearance, but their intention. All three challenge the idea that meaning must be obvious. They resist easy interpretation. Instead of offering clear answers, they invite questions. They turn the viewer from a passive observer into an active participant. These movements also reflect changes in how people understood the mind. As psychology developed, artists became more interested in inner experience than external reality. Art was no longer only about what the world looks like, but about how it feels to exist within it. Silence, confusion, and ambiguity became tools rather than problems. Understanding these forms of art does not require special knowledge or education. It requires patience. Modern art often asks you to stay with uncertainty instead of resolving it quickly. It asks you to notice your reactions rather than judge the artwork immediately. The discomfort many people feel in front of modern art is not a failure to understand. It is part of the experience itself. In the next part, we will explore why these movements still matter today, how they influence design, culture, and everyday life, and why learning to engage with them can change the way you see not only art, but the world around you. Even today, these artistic movements continue to provoke strong reactions. Some people feel inspired and challenged by them, while others feel irritated or excluded. This reaction itself is important. Minimalism, surrealism, and abstract art were never meant to be comfortable or universally pleasing. They were created to interrupt habits of perception and to question how meaning is formed in the first place. In contemporary culture, minimalism has moved far beyond galleries and museums. It shapes architecture, product design, digital interfaces, and even lifestyle philosophies. Clean lines, empty space, and limited color palettes are often associated with clarity and control. What began as an artistic experiment became a way of responding to overload. In a world saturated with images and information, minimalism offers relief. It teaches restraint, not as a lack, but as a choice. Surrealism, on the other hand, has deeply influenced film, photography, advertising, and popular culture. Dreamlike imagery, unexpected combinations, and visual metaphors are now everywhere. Modern cinema often borrows surrealist logic to express emotions that cannot be explained through dialogue alone. Music videos, fashion editorials, and digital art regularly use surreal techniques to capture attention and communicate mood. What once felt shocking has become familiar, yet it still carries the power to disturb and fascinate. Abstract art has also found new relevance in the digital age. Algorithms, data visualization, and generative art rely heavily on abstraction. We now live surrounded by patterns we cannot directly see but constantly interact with. Abstract art prepared viewers for this reality by training perception beyond literal representation. It taught people to read meaning in movement, rhythm, and structure skills that are increasingly useful in a world shaped by invisible systems. One reason modern art often feels difficult is that it removes the safety of clear interpretation. Traditional art often reassures the viewer by offering recognizable stories or symbols. Modern art refuses this comfort. It asks you to remain uncertain and attentive. This can feel uncomfortable, especially in cultures that value quick understanding and clear answers. Yet this discomfort is precisely where reflection begins. Learning to engage with these movements does not mean forcing yourself to like them. It means changing the question. Instead of asking, "Do I understand this?" it is more useful to ask, "What is this doing to me?" Minimalist art may make you impatient or calm. Surrealist art may confuse or disturb you. Abstract art may energize or exhaust you. These reactions are not mistakes. They are the artwork in action. Another important aspect is that meaning in modern art is not fixed. It changes depending on context, time, and the viewer. A minimalist sculpture may feel cold in one moment and peaceful in another. A surreal image may feel playful today and threatening tomorrow. Abstract compositions can shift with mood, memory, and personal experience. This flexibility is not a weakness. It is a form of openness that allows art to remain alive. Critics often accuse modern art of being disconnected from ordinary people. Yet many of its ideas are deeply human. Confusion, silence, dreams, and emotional intensity are universal experiences. Modern art does not explain them. It mirrors them. It creates a space where complexity is allowed to exist without resolution. In a broader sense, these movements challenge how we think about meaning itself. They suggest that meaning is not always something we receive, but something we create through attention and reflection. By engaging with art that does not guide us, we practice patience and openness. We learn to tolerate ambiguity, which is an increasingly valuable skill in a complex world. Minimalism, surrealism, and abstract art are not puzzles with hidden answers. They are invitations. They invite you to slow down, to feel rather than decode, and to notice how your mind reacts when certainty is removed. In doing so, they reveal something important not only about art, but about perception, imagination, and the ways we search for meaning in everyday life. Understanding these movements does not require expertise. It requires presence. And in a world that constantly demands speed and clarity, presence may be one of the most radical acts art can offer.